Welcome to Biscayne National Park. Welcome to Biscayne National Park, a hidden gem located just outside of Miami, Florida, where crystal clear water, coral reefs, and lush mangrove forests come together in one of the most unique national parks in the United States. Join us as we spend 2 amazing days exploring this watery paradise. Biscayne National Park is located in southern Florida, just off the coast of Miami. The park is over 170,000 acres and is 95% water, which kind of makes it the water park of the national park system. So to properly experience this park, we'll need to do water activities like snorkeling, kayaking, and boat tours. On our very first day, we had reservations to do the Snorkel and Island Visit tour through the Biscayne National Park Institute. They're an official nonprofit partner of the park, and they offer a bunch of different experiences to help you explore the park by water. The Snorkel and Island Visit tour is a 6-hour tour which includes snorkeling at 2 different spots, which could be coral reefs, mangroves, or even shipwrecks, plus a visit to one of the park's remote islands. It's $209 per person, and each tour is super small, with a maximum of 6 guests, so it feels really personal and never crowded. This tour does not leave from the main visitor center like you might expect. Instead, it departs from Dinner Key Marina in Coconut Grove, right next to the Miami City Hall, which has a fun bit of history itself. It was actually built as a seaplane base and terminal back in the day. Oh, and in true Miami fashion, there are chickens casually strutting around the marina, because of course there are.
Why are you crossing the road?
After we checked in, we met our captain Jess, who was super friendly and knowledgeable. Once we got geared up, we boarded the boat and headed out, passing some seriously jaw-dropping yachts and getting an incredible view of the Miami skyline from the water. As we cruised along, we passed Key Biscayne and caught a glimpse of the Cape Florida lighthouse, which was built all the way back in 1825. This lighthouse also has some interesting history. It was a part of the Saltwater Underground Railroad, a secret route that enslaved people once used to escape to freedom in the Bahamas. As we continued cruising, we passed by one of the most unique sites in the park, Stiltsville. This is a quirky little collection of wooden houses built on stilts, sitting right above the water in the middle of Biscayne Bay. The whole thing started back in the 1930s when a guy nicknamed Crawfish Eddie built the very first shack out there. It was originally just a bait and tackle shop, but before long, more buildings popped up and things got a little wild. During its peak in the 1960s, there were 27 structures, and the area became known for illegal gambling, bootleg alcohol, and prostitution. But over the years, hurricanes and storms, especially Hurricane Andrew in 1992, destroyed most of them. Now, only 7 of these buildings are still standing, and they're protected as part of the national park. Floating past them felt almost surreal, like stumbling across a ghost town at sea.
Hold on, let me pause. Commercial break. The white bird that you're seeing there is called a great blue heron whiteface. And so the great blue heron whiteface is a subspecies of the blue heron that have morphed its feathers to work better with the heat of Miami. If you're a birder, there's people who will travel around the world to do that. That's a life bird right there. And we get to see them all the time. I see them on a daily. Okay, so if you got birders in your family, take a picture of it, show it to them, and be like, "Hey, look what I saw." They're gonna wish that they could add it to their life list. So this is a really cool area to look for cushion stars. Starfish, usually what people think of them as, but they've been reclassified as sea stars because there's nothing to do with fish. And so calling them starfish is wrong, so they're called sea stars. And there's one kind called the cushion star, and we can see it here. So if you want to just like stick your head over the side, I'm not really going to show you how far.
There's another one. Around noon, we pulled up to our very first snorkel stop, Bay Shoal, part of the massive Florida coral reef, which is actually the third largest reef in the world. It's located about 5 miles off the coast of Miami, and what makes this spot especially great is that the water is super shallow, usually under 15 feet. So even if you're not an expert snorkeler, it's really easy to navigate.
You can see the visibility is quite incredible. You can actually see stuff. Right now it's just a little wavy, but this is wind wave. It's not current. Hey, good job!
The moment we jumped in, we were surrounded by a kaleidoscope of color. We spotted vibrant coral formations and schools of colorful tropical fish. We spotted some parrotfish, rays, crabs, barracudas, and tons of beautiful fish. The reef was full of movement and color, and the visibility was amazing. What really stood out was how the coral rose dramatically from the seafloor, forming these ridges and ledges. We learned that Boca Shoal is home to several types of coral, including sea fan coral, brain coral, and star coral. And some of these coral species are thousands of years old, since coral grows slowly, similar to the rate of your fingernails. We had about an hour to explore the reef, but I could have stayed there all day. It was our first time snorkeling in the open ocean. All you see is just water all around everywhere you look. So that was fun and a little unnerving to experience being in the water without any land in sight. There are shipwrecks located along the very edge of the park, among other parts of the reef that you can explore. However, you do need to have ideal weather and sea conditions to see those. Your captain will make the decision to go see those or not based on the conditions for the day. During our visit, Captain Jess mentioned that the conditions were good, but not quite ideal enough to go see those. But we really enjoyed the areas that we did get to see. After soaking in the reef, we headed to a completely different kind of ecosystem, the red mangroves along Sands Key. These tangled root systems might not look like much from above, but underneath, it's a whole other world. As our tour guide put it, if the coral reefs are Finding Nemo and Disney, the mangroves are Tim Burton. The mangroves act like a nursery for sea life, and this area was teeming with juvenile fish darting in and out of the roots like it was an underwater playground. And an underrated part of the area is all the seagrass. You can actually see all the bubbles forming on the edges of the grass, creating brand new air to breathe. We snorkeled through the calm, shallow water for another hour, just slowly drifting and taking it all in. It felt peaceful and almost secret, like we'd stumbled into a quiet little corner of nature that most people never get to see. Our final stop of the day was Boca Chita Key, and even though we were already blown away by the reefs and mangroves, this place was the perfect way to wrap up the tour. The island is home to its own 65-foot lighthouse, which is kind of the star of the show. It was actually under renovation during our visit, so we couldn't go to the top, but even from the ground, it's still super photogenic. Back in the day, the island was owned by Mark Honeywell, the guy who founded Honeywell Thermostats. He built the lighthouse in the 1930s, but unfortunately he put it on the wrong side of the island. Because of that, he wasn't able to turn it on since it would confuse boaters. So this lighthouse is purely ornamental.
I'm glad to get out of the water because it was cold, but it was really beautiful. Like the snorkeling and the reef was incredible. We really hope the footage comes out from that. And like snorkeling through the mangroves was also really cool. So
Yeah, we're doing this trail now.
yeah, so now we're doing this trail on this key.
There is a short quarter-mile loop trail that wraps around the shoreline of the key. The start is marked by the stone wall that Honeywell's wife built. It was meant to separate nature from society. This trail is a nice, easy trail, and along the way, you'll see hermit crab holes, beautiful ocean views, and of course, at the end of the trail leads to a 4-car garage. Yep, there is a garage on this tiny island. Honeywell had this 4-car garage built on the island in order to show off his Model Ts to his friends. However, one of Honeywell's friends would one-up him by bringing his pet elephant Rosie to the island. Rosie the elephant was trained to take photos with guests and would stay in the garage during her visits. Today, Boca Chita Key is still a party island and a hot spot for boaters, and honestly, once you're there, it's pretty easy to see why. The water is beautiful and the whole place just feels like the slice of paradise tucked away from the world. Also, if you do this trip, be sure to bring your own lunch because it's not provided on the tour. We sat by the water and ate our sandwiches before heading back to the real world. Overall, we really enjoyed this tour and it ended up being the highlight of our trip. It's definitely worth the price for an amazing all-day adventure. Day 2 was a little bit more laid back, but still amazing. This time, we swapped out the snorkeling gear for paddles and signed up for the Kayak the Mangroves tour, also run by the same company as the snorkel tour, the Biscayne National Park Institute. This tour is much shorter, only about an hour and a half, and way more budget-friendly at just $39 per person. Unlike the snorkel tour, this one does leave from the Dante Fassel Visitor Center, which gave us a chance to finally get our photo with the Biscayne National Park entrance sign. If you look closely, the sign actually has these really cool 3D reliefs of coral and a fish formed onto it, which is a really nice touch. It's totally free to enter the park. Most people visit by boat, so there's no charge for land access, parking, or the visitor center. Just another reason why it's such a hidden gem. We checked in at the gift shop and then headed downstairs to the meeting spot for the tour. There were 8 people in our group, and while most folks were doing double kayaks, we ended up with the 2 single kayaks since one of the doubles wasn't in the best shape. Our tour kicked off with a semi-guided format, which means that the naturalist guide leads you for the first 30 minutes, and then lets you paddle around and explore on your own for the rest of the time. We started off by paddling into the first mangrove tunnel, where our guide taught us about the wildlife, the role mangroves play in the ecosystem, and just how important they are to protecting coastlines and the sea life.
Yeah, there's one right there. Just spotted him. He's going up that branch.
Whoa!
The one that you're holding on to, the second one.
Yeah, I see him.
They're hard to spot, but once you know how to spot them,
Yeah.
it's easy. You know usually where they hang out. They usually hang out within the joints of the trees. Very different to the traditional national park. We don't really have the geological formations that are usually associated with some of these national parks, the more recognizable ones. But that's not really the reason we're a national park. It's not so much landscapes or anything like that, or beauty. Although our park is very beautiful, especially when you get a nice calm day like this. It's mostly because of our biodiversity that we became a national park. Actually, a lot of the people that signed this into a monument, all the people together. Lyndon B. Johnson was actually the president who signed this into a monument. He was an avid fisherman, and a lot of them just wanted to see all the fish here and all the wildlife within the water preserve for later generations to be able to fish. And it's pretty much like a big playground for all these people, and that's actually why you could still fish in here. You could spearfish. You can't lobster within the bay. You can lobster outside of the bay, but a lot of the regulations that most national parks have don't apply. The biggest reason we're a national park is, like I said, wildlife. We have a lot of biodiversity here. 70% are usually juvenile fish. They're all baby fish starting their life. You can kind of think of this whole environment as a big fish nursery.
After that, we were free to roam. Most of the group headed right back into the big tunnel, so we decided to take the opposite route and loop around the nearby islands first, hoping to catch the tunnel later when it wasn't so busy.
So it looks like we're making it out to the second island here, and the water is so clear. It's a beautiful day. Ooh, okay. We just made it to the second island, which she said was really cool. So all of this limestone that you're seeing here is ancient coral that the mangrove roots just kind of dig into that limestone. So they are fully rooted into the rock, which is cool. We learned that yesterday during our tour. Look at how cool that looks. Whoa. So it looks like there's some kind of mound over here. I wonder if that's one of those ancient shell mounds. I love all the different colors of the limestone. That's amazing.
When we circled back, there were still groups exploring the big tunnel, so we went a little further down the coastline into the smaller tunnel to hopefully get it to ourselves for a bit. This did end up being our one big regret. If we had to do it over again, we would have just waited to explore the larger tunnel before heading down to the smaller one. And as a result, we didn't have enough time to go back and see it. But the one tunnel that we did see was pretty awesome. After kayaking, we spent some time inside the Dante Faso Visitor Center, which is definitely worth a visit if you're in the area. We picked up some of our usual national park souvenirs, grabbed our passport stamps, and checked out all of the interactive exhibits inside. There's a ton of information about the marine life, coral reefs, mangroves, and even how the Florida Keys were formed. Downstairs, you'll also find a beautiful compass rose mosaic. And right outside, along the waterfront, there's a peaceful little boardwalk trail called the Conway Point Jetty Trail. It's only about a half-mile round trip, so it's super easy and perfect if you're just looking for a relaxing nature walk.
On a clear day, you can see Miami Beach, Key Biscayne, and other communities from this point. We see Miami skyline way out there in the distance. funny looking manatee is that?
If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for joining us on our adventure to Biscayne National Park. We would love it if you would hit the like button and subscribe if you would love to see more of our national park adventures. Before we go, we want to give a huge thank you to our channel members. Your support means the world to us, and it's because of you that we can continue to create amazing adventures like this one. We're so grateful to have you along on this journey. If you're planning your own trip to Biscayne and Everglades National Parks, I've included links to both of our activities down in the video description, so be sure to check those out. In our next video, we'll be continuing the adventure with 2 unforgettable days exploring Everglades National Park. As soon as that video is live, I'll pop it up on the screen right here. And if you're currently chasing your own national park bucket list, I've got an incredible 7-day adventure through Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park you'll have to see. Until next time.